Hello everyone! So today I wanted to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while actually. And this week an article was shared on my Facebook, and when I read it I really resonated with it as well. And it's exactly the topic that I wanted to cover, so that is what I'm going to be talking about today. So people always talk about the hardest parts of traveling, such as finding a job, making new friends, and finding your place in a new environment. But these are things that are spoken about a lot on YouTube and everywhere else, and these are things that you will overcome, and all the good things that you experience will always overshadow the bad things. But then after you've overcome all those things, you go home. And that is the part that I want to talk about today. So the article that I want to talk about is written by Kelly Donnelly, and it's called The Hardest Part of Traveling No One Talks About. I wanted to start it off with a quote at the beginning of her article. You see a world, try new things, meet new people, fall in love, visit amazing places, learn about other cultures, and then it's all over. People always talk about leaving, but what about coming home? And this is exactly what I want to address today. So in her article, she describes how in the first 2 weeks when you get back, you're a bit of the Hollywood star. You get to catch up with all your friends, you get to tell about everything that you did. But after all that Hollywood fame has passed, you sit in your room and you realize nothing has changed. You are still in the same room, in the same environment. But you have changed, and people don't seem to see it. In my own personal experience, when I came back from England, especially in the first few days, I sat in my room and I felt so sad because I did not feel at home in my own home anymore. And then as the weeks passed, I started to realize that things that I had grown in, I had learned, seemed to have gone. So it almost felt like that whole year hadn't even happened. Now, for me personally, this might have been because a lot of my personal growth has taken place in my second language. I was living in England, I was only speaking English, so my mind was switched to English as well. So maybe coming back to my hometown and speaking my native language of Dutch might have reverted me back into old habits. Because the thing is that your subconscious doesn't really learn a different language. Your subconscious will always be your mother language. Deep down, that will always be the core of your mind. So the things that I have learned in English, I might still have to learn to apply in my Dutch way of doing things. And in this environment that I have lived for 26 years now, I still live in the same place that I was born. So I am back in a place where everything has been, well, sort of the same, not completely, like things have changed, but you know, it's still the same spot where I have always been this specific type of person. So yeah, that might be a more personal thing, but that was what I really experienced, was that the growth that I had experienced in England in the English language didn't seem to translate when I speak Dutch. In her article, Kelly Donnelly kind of argues that this is why so many people start traveling again after they've done it once. They call it the travel bug, and she kind of says it as the desire of being in an environment of people who speak the same language. Not an actual language, but the language of knowing what it feels like to leave and experience and learn and then come back to an environment you've always been in. And after coming back feeling lost, more lost in your own country, in your own environment, than you had felt lost in a completely foreign country. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, when I read this article, it really resonated with how I thought about it. It put into words the things I had been feeling in September when I came back from the UK, but also in December when I came back from 2 months of traveling in New Zealand and Australia. But since I shared this article on my Facebook, friends of mine read this as well, and one of my friends had read a completely different article than I had. So his experience of that article was very different, and he actually said that it sounded a bit elitist to him, as if this person was trying to say like, oh, if you've never done this before, you can't understand what we're going through. When he said this, at first I was like, the fact that you don't get it, that's the whole point of the article. But that's a bit short-sighted of myself. Because the reason he said it was an elitist thing to say is because it closes the subject for any further discussion. Because if you say you've never done it, you can't know how it is, it kind of implies that people don't even have to try to feel what we're going through or try to understand, and that's obviously not a good thing, because people will always experience things differently and people go through things that you will personally never go through. And as hard as it is to completely understand what this person is going through, it doesn't mean that you will try your hardest to understand this person and support this person in their feelings. And this is also demonstrated by the fact that this same friend actually pointed me to other articles Kelly Donnelly had written, which I hadn't even looked up yet. Because he said that she also wrote an article of how to handle being back in your own country. So she states that part of being back in your own environment is accepting the fact you won't be leaving anytime soon again, except if you've already planned new travels, of course, but most of you will probably be home and be home for a while. Part of what makes traveling so exciting is that you live in the moment. You're 100% experiencing everything around you. And because everything is new, you're very able to pick up on things that are different and exciting, and you will try your hardest to grab every opportunity to go or see something new, because you know that the time you are spending abroad is going to end. And then when you come home, that pressure is off. I've been very guilty of this myself as well. When I came back, I found myself just sitting in my room feeling sad, but also not willing to do anything because everything seemed boring. And that's just a really dumb way of thinking about it, because taking that mindset of actively finding and searching new exciting things to do, taking that with you is actually one of the hardest things to do, because you're in an environment that you already know so well. But even in your own environment, you can search for things to experience. You can take long weekends and visit like places you've never been to in your own country, or you can step into the car and go drive for an hour in directions you've never been to, or just visit a new restaurant in the town you've always go to, because you get stuck in ways that you know, and being back home makes you revert back into these habits. But it doesn't mean you can make life exciting for yourself, because the point in your life that you are at now is also going to end. So that time pressure that you feel in a foreign country, knowing that the trip is going to end, that is something that actually exists in your real life as well. The point of your life, what you are at now, is never coming back, because your life will change. You know, if you're young, you might get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you might get kids, you're buying a house, you get a different job. Things will change. So why not live the moment of your life where you're in right now to its fullest? So take the wanderlust that you felt when you were abroad and apply it to your day-to-day life in this country that you think you already know. That's all I have to say on the subject. I'm no expert in any of this. I am just talking from things that I've read and things that I've experienced myself. If you have your own experiences of coming back home or not being able to talk to anyone about what you are going through, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to have a chat with you about it. And other than that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye!